Greetings my beautiful storytellers, I'm Will Kelly and you are watching Tools for the Storyteller, where script analysis meets self-analysis. Welcome. So last week we went a little bit more into the shadow, and this week I want to talk about the archetype of the victim, one of my favorite archetypes. I actually refer to this archetype as the victim/victor archetype. Now, one of the reasons why I love the victim/victor archetype so much is because of the journey that it puts us upon, which is to force us into a position where we have to dig deep into ourselves in order to create a will greater than the circumstances that we're facing in order to become something greater than we've ever been before. It's designed to build us up, not break us down. Whether we succeed in creating that internal will or fail at creating that internal will greater than those circumstances will determine whether we become a victim or the victor. The difference between being a victim and being victimized is very much based in mindset. And people such as Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mandela have proven that you can be victimized brutally in life and not be a victim. Being a victim is basically an acceptance in the mind. It's kind of a choice that we make. We agree to being a victim. Being victimized isn't a choice. Every human being experiences being victimized at different periods throughout their life, and every human being has experiences where they have victimized others. For every person you might feel has victimized you, there's someone who feels that their life may have been a little bit better had they never met you, and we're all in that boat. The beautiful thing about the victim archetype is that it really demonstrates for me how much I am an expression of life, not an exception to life. And because I'm an expression of life and I am a part of the human experience, I don't get to escape the inevitability of being victimized at different periods in my life and feeling victimized. The trick is to never accept being a victim and to understand again that adversity is the nature of life. And throughout life and throughout different stages, we get to the end of one stage, we embark at the beginning of another, and again we're facing life in terms of there are new adversities, there are new things to feel victimized about, and there are new things that will come up that are victimizing us. And then we have to decide what that says about us. So when we open a script, for example, more often than not, the character that we are playing is being victimized by something or someone, whether that's, a Sarah Connor or a Jason Bourne or a Rambo, whoever it is. The victim archetype is found constantly in film, in theatre, and has a very, very special relationship with other archetypes such as the hero and the tyrant. Previously, we've talked about primary archetypes and secondary archetypes, and the hero archetype is talked about a lot, especially in film, the hero's journey. My attitude towards the hero archetype is that it is a secondary archetype because it cannot manifest without first an individual feeling victimized by something. So first you have the victim archetype in play, and then based upon the attitude of that character in a script or that personality in life, will determine whether or not that individual becomes the hero in their own life or the victim in their own life, or perhaps even a tyrant. The tyrant and the hero are both characters that have felt victimized by something and have internalized it in such a way as to come out fighting. And they either come out fighting by becoming a hero to themselves or to others, or they come out fighting by trying to overpower others. Tyrants are born out of an individual's inability to create an internal will greater than their circumstances that instill in them a sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Without self-worth and self-esteem, which can only be earned through the development of an internal will greater than one's circumstances, and refusing to give in to things like self-pity or see ourselves as a victim. Without the development of those things, we tend to fall prey to self-pity, blame, resentment, finger-pointing, and tyranny in one form or another. Now, a big mistake I made in the first film that I was in was I had a character that very much was victimized, and I played him as a victim, and it's a mistake you want to avoid when playing a character, because it's actually quite unattractive to watch. Whatever is happening to any character that you're creating and playing or writing, you want to make sure that you instill in that character a sense of fight, a sense of internal action, drive, attitude that signifies an internal will to lift themselves out of whatever situation is victimizing them. Even if it's not in the script on the surface, you want to be able to find that within the character and demonstrate that for an audience to see, otherwise they're just not going to barrack for you. If Sarah Connor in The Terminator just decided to complain about her situation, no one would have rooted for her. So the victim archetype is something that you find in almost any film you see, any script that you read, any character that you play, you're going to find it in that journey. And to understand it as best as you can, you look to yourself and how you've experienced victimization in your own life and how you have responded to it, and your own unique relationship to that archetype. And again, understanding that this is a part of the human journey that every single human being experiences. There isn't a human being on the planet that hasn't experienced being victimized. So it's a very impersonal aspect of the human experience that we personalize for ourselves based upon our individual makeup, who we are as a personality, the kind of social conditioning we experience growing up, our genetic predispositions determines how we internalize the experience of being victimized in life. And so by understanding this archetypal force within the human condition can help you to connect with any character that you find on a script and that you start creating, because it's something that you have in common. And by understanding your own personal relationship with these different archetypal forces helps to create a level of empathy between yourself and a level of intimacy between yourself and any character you could create, because this part of the human condition is something that you both have in common. There are certain archetypal forces that every human being must engage in. It's just part of the human experience, and this is one of them. And so if you can identify the kind of personal relationship the character that you're playing has with this archetype, you will create within that character an expression of the human experience that anyone can relate to. At least anyone who's human. Which will be pretty much anyone watching whatever you're in.